knows that Meghan Markle was a hoe. He knows that Meghan Markle had a relationship with Prince Andrew. He knows that he is stuck in California. He knows he has wrecked his life with a D-list mattress.
Electric cars, he's going to Mars. Why is he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits.
All they had to do was shut up and do nothing. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were probably going to get their best news cycle in years, because we know deep down they want to bring down the British royal family.
Aren't they pushing this nuclear button and just let the world know about Meghan?
It started with a line nobody saw coming, and for a split second, the whole room just shut down. One quick joke about Meghan Markle dropped into the air, and suddenly everything felt off. No laughs, no applause, just people staring around like, did he really just say that? Then it clicked, and boom. The entire audience broke into loud, uncontrollable laughter. A comedian walked onto one of the biggest stages in America, locked eyes with the camera, and delivered a line that instantly made things tense. It was bold, risky, and just awkward enough that people needed a moment to catch up before reacting. Then came the punchline. He said, "The only way Prince Andrew becomes king is if it comes down to him or Meghan." First, the crowd let out a long groan, like they couldn't believe it went there. But seconds later, the laughter started building and didn't stop. Even Colin Jost looked like he was barely holding it together, while the audience completely lost control. And right there, live on national TV, something shifted. The polished image Meghan had built for years suddenly became the target of a sharp, unforgettable joke.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse, has been arrested and now may be banned from ever taking the throne. In fact, the royal family said the only way he can become king is if it comes down to either him or Meghan.
But here's what most people didn't catch. That moment wasn't random. Just weeks earlier, the same show and host had already taken a swing that got people talking fast. It began with talk about a new trade deal that supposedly had global attention. Then came the line that flipped the room upside down. Great news for both sides. Britain only had one request. America keeps Meghan Markle. And just like that, explosion. The crowd reacted instantly, loud and impossible to ignore. Jokes like that don't land unless everyone already feels the shift in the air. You don't drop lines like that on live TV unless the writers, producers and audience all sense something changing behind the scenes. 2 different nights, 2 heavy jokes, and both hit perfectly. Within hours, clips were everywhere online, spreading fast and pulling massive reactions. What made it even more surprising is the show's history. For years, Meghan and Harry were often framed as figures dealing with pressure, criticism, and royal expectations. But now, the tone feels different. Meghan isn't being shown as the sympathetic figure anymore. Instead, she's at the center of sharp, high-profile punchlines seen by millions. Moments like that don't just happen by accident. Comedy follows the public mood closely, and timing is everything. So when a risky joke makes it to air, there's always a bigger question behind it.
Highlight the mucky murkiness and mendacious manner of this alleged yacht girl.
Speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time. There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s.
Why now? Why does it suddenly feel like public opinion around Meghan is shifting so quickly? Because pressure around her story seems to be coming from multiple directions at once, and that's where the comparison in the joke really shocked people. Prince Andrew, whose interview became one of the most talked about media moments in recent UK history, faced massive backlash that pushed him away from royal duties. Yet the joke suggested something surprising, that some might still place him above Meghan. That's exactly the kind of line that sparks debates, headlines, and non-stop online reactions. The joke didn't land because people support Andrew. It landed because it highlighted how sharply opinions around Meghan may be changing. That brief groan before the laughter said everything. People understood the point instantly. It was blunt, uncomfortable, and funny all at once. But here's where things get even deeper. The Andrew comparison hits harder because conversations about Meghan go far beyond one joke or one headline. Before the royal spotlight, before global deals and major speeches, there was Meghan Markle building her place step by step. She was known as an actress, a lifestyle blogger, and someone who moved confidently through high-level social circles that seemed bigger than her fame at the time. Now, many online have started revisiting that earlier chapter. Some critics...
The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. I'm guessing that he has been nudging the royal family. Can you believe what Meghan did, huh? Can you believe...
Claim parts of that period were later refined or pushed into the background once the royal narrative took over. They point back to the years before Prince Harry, before global headlines and the carefully shaped public image became dominant. And one topic keeps popping up again and again. There are claims that Meghan spent time around wealthy and influential circles, including luxury yacht events tied to elite networking scenes. Some online voices try to frame those spaces as more structured or transactional, but none of it has been proven. Still, the discussion keeps coming back because people who say they were familiar with those circles continue to talk. And that constant chatter keeps the topic alive instead of letting it fade. There's another layer too. Reports and online commentary about high-profile legal controversies have led some to speculate that Meghan may have at least crossed paths with exclusive circles linked to powerful figures and private gatherings. But, again, it remains speculation with no clear confirmation. That uncertainty is exactly what keeps people watching and questioning. Then there's her old lifestyle blog, The Tig. At the time, it looked polished and aspirational, filled with luxury travel, exclusive invites, and high-end connections most people never experience. Everything about it felt carefully curated and intentional.
Savage comparison to Prince Andrew. This was on the Weekend Update section with Colin Jost, who has mocked Meghan before. Like, I gotta say, I think this one's the biggest roast yet. You ready for it? Here we go.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse.
Look at that. I gotta pause also for commentary purposes. That photo, my God, how did that get out? Oh, he looks, I mean, good. I'm not, but my God, he does look like a...
Now, years later, some readers are going back through those posts with fresh eyes. They're rereading details and wondering if certain moments revealed more than people realized at the time. Even stories about her vision board have resurfaced, especially claims that Prince Harry was on it before they ever met. That detail alone has fueled even more discussion. Because of all this, some critics argue her rise into powerful circles wasn't random at all. They believe she was strategic, always thinking ahead, building connections and planning her next move. Now, every introduction, every invite, every high-profile meeting is being looked at all over again, and people are paying very close attention.
Night Live in the Weekend Update for the second time roasting Meghan Markle. This is gotta hurt. Watch.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse, has been arrested and now may be banned from ever taking the throne. In fact, the royal family said the only way he can become king is if it comes down to either him or Meghan.
What used to look like simple networking is now being picked apart like it's part of some bigger long-term plan. Every move, every connection, people online are analysing it like it all meant something deeper from the start. And while all this debate keeps getting louder, Meghan has stayed noticeably quiet. No big statement, no detailed explanation, just silence hanging over everything. That silence stands out even more because she's never been someone to stay quiet before. In the past, she's been quick to defend herself, often taking legal action to protect her image. People still remember the major court case against a British newspaper over a private letter. When her reputation was on the line, the response was fast, direct, and very public. But this time, nothing. And that silence is making people ask even more questions. Some see it as calm and controlled, like she's rising above the noise. Others think it looks strategic, like decisions are being made behind the scenes about what deserves attention and what doesn't.
Also announced a new trade deal with the UK. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
No, I refuse.
Usually when claims are completely false, the response comes quickly. Statements, legal warnings, strong pushback. That's why the silence itself has now become part of the story. Then another detail started spreading online, and it got people even more curious. Old photos began circulating, showing a younger Meghan at the same social event as Prince Andrew. These weren't recent images. They were taken years before her royal connection, back when she was still building her acting career and moving through different social circles. Because of that, people online started connecting dots, looking at timelines, events, introductions, and the powerful networks around those gatherings. Some say it shows how determined she was to succeed in competitive spaces. Others say it's just normal industry networking. Nothing unusual. Meghan has said publicly that she did not personally know Andrew. Still, those resurfaced photos keep the conversation alive, with people debating what kind of connection, if any, may have existed.
A serious side to the SNL comedy. I don't usually agree with it because it's very left-wing. But effectively what they're saying here is that, yep, we agree, Meghan Markle, less popular than Andrew Mountbatten wins.
Meanwhile, some commentators suggest Andrew himself could be quietly watching all this unfold, and that adds an unexpected twist. A royal figure who stepped back from public duties after major controversy is now, according to some, observing headlines that might involve details people are only starting to notice now. For years, the media examined nearly every part of Andrew's life under intense scrutiny. But when questions about any possible link to Meghan started circulating online, that same level of attention didn't seem as strong, and that contrast is exactly what people keep pointing out. At the same time all this was spreading online, Harry and Meghan were appearing at carefully staged humanitarian visits, smiling for cameras, standing with officials, presenting polished moments from places like Jordan. The visuals looked perfect. Formal meetings, charity messaging, stunning locations in the background. Everything seemed designed to send a clear message to viewers watching from a distance. But critics are asking a different question. What's happening outside the camera frame? Because while the images suggest active humanitarian work, some commentators argue that their foundation, Archewell, hasn't delivered the level of impact many originally expected. Changes in direction and unclear long-term plans have kept that debate going.
She is now living in denial. She thinks she can somehow pick up the pieces of her shattered life and resume what she used to do, which was, ligging money off people, coming up with rubbish projects, borrowing money, being paid for, and just generally jet-setting around the world freeloading. Well, nobody wants to know her.
What remains constant, though, is the presentation. The photos, the appearances, the carefully framed moments that grab attention. One clip from the Jordan visit especially caught people's eyes. A respected Jordanian princess was speaking, someone with strong influence and authority in the region. But viewers noticed a small detail. Meghan appeared to glance toward the cameras, slightly adjusting her posture as the speech continued nearby. Maybe it meant nothing, or maybe it was simple awareness of being photographed. Still, the clip spread fast online, and people immediately started debating what that moment really showed. Another moment from that same trip got people talking fast. In one photo, Meghan stood next to a young burn survivor, offering support while cameras captured everything. Some critics immediately compared it to iconic humanitarian images linked to Princess Diana, a royal figure Meghan has openly said she admires.
Is the press and the palace refusing to look or comment or report on Meghan Markle's links to the same individual, and most importantly, her relationship, her close personal relationship with Prince Andrew?
Supporters saw it as a genuine act of compassion. Critics, though, viewed it as carefully staged for impact. Either way, that comparison spread quickly and became a major talking point. At the same time, a much more personal topic keeps resurfacing online. Meghan's father has faced serious health issues over the years, including strokes and other major complications. Some commentators say the relationship between Meghan and her father seems distant, especially while she continues appearing at high-profile events around the world. Others push back hard, saying family situations are private and outsiders don't see the full picture. Still, the contrast stands out. Serious family struggles on one side, global appearances on the other, and people have definitely noticed. Right in the middle of all this is Prince Harry. Some observers say he's looked more serious lately during public appearances, almost like the weight of his past decisions is catching up with him. His life changed fast, stepping away from royal duties, leaving his home country, and distancing himself from the military and institutions that shaped him.
These photo ops, how Meghan does it all to camera. Who else gets caught like this with photos? Like, when you're doing charity, do you often position yourself to be right near holding hands with and make sure your face is presented to camera, and also having a camera person there to take these shots? It's all so orchestrated and manipulative.
People close to royal circles had warned that such a move wouldn't be easy. Now, as headlines keep shifting and debates grow louder, many are wondering if Harry himself is starting to see just how complicated those choices became. Even before the wedding, warnings were coming in from multiple directions. Prince William reportedly advised him to slow down and take more time before making such a major decision. Meghan's half-brother also made public comments urging caution. And then there were longtime friends, people who had known Harry for years, who slowly disappeared from his inner circle one by one. Those familiar voices faded, leaving fewer people who might challenge him or offer tough advice. For many watching from the outside, that pattern stood out clearly.
Always knows where the camera is, doesn't she? Everybody's listening to this lady, Prince Harry, everybody. Meghan's eyes directly to the camera. And, with that smile, there's nothing to smile about.
They didn't just see a headline-making romance, they saw shifts in influence, loyalty, and relationships that completely reshaped Harry's world. And the public reaction hasn't been simple. For some, it's not anger. It feels more like disappointment, even sadness. Many believe he was warned. They believe people around him tried to raise concerns. But in the end, Harry made his own choices and stepped into a future very different from what many once expected. And that leads straight into another debate that won't go away. King Charles, Harry and Meghan still hold the titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Those titles aren't just formal, they carry global recognition, influence, and a level of prestige that still shapes how their projects are received. Some critics argue that if those titles were ever removed, everything around their brand could change overnight. The attention, partnerships, and royal credibility tied to their image might look very different instantly. That conversation got even louder after their trip through the Middle East. Some commentators said parts of the visit looked almost like a diplomatic tour, even though they weren't representing the British government in any official role.
Why are these two going? How much does it cost for these two to go? And why do they keep allowing this to happen? I don't get it. Now, as you'll remember, they did, similar visits to Nigeria, Colombia. They love these faux royal tours to go out there to make it seem like they're, royal.
During that same time, Harry made public comments about the situation in Gaza that triggered strong reactions. Some officials disagreed openly, saying the situation was far more complex than it was presented. Moments like that have only added pressure to the ongoing. Question: what role should Harry and Meghan really have while still holding royal titles? Now think about how strange this really looks. A member of the royal family travels abroad, speaks on a sensitive global issue, and then faces public disagreement from officials in another country, all while still holding royal titles.
You feel like royalty because Harry and Meghan have to constantly keep feeling like they're royalty because they're grifters. They're faking it. There was nothing royal about this tour. You can stay in the same suite as William and Catherine, but it doesn't make the visit royal.
That's where, for many critics, this stops feeling like celebrity drama and starts raising serious questions about the monarchy itself. In their eyes, this is about reputation, credibility, and the risk of staying connected while controversies keep stacking up. That's why one argument keeps coming back again and again. Remove the titles, cut the formal ties, make the separation clear. Because as long as those titles stay, every new headline drags the royal family right back into the spotlight. And this brings everything full circle to that comedy joke that spread so fast online. It's not the biggest issue in the story, not even close. The rumors, the stuff. Old photos, the questions around the foundation, and the family tensions all carry way more weight. But that joke still mattered. And for one big reason. It shifted the tone. The moment a major American comedy stage turned Meghan into a punchline next to Prince Andrew and the audience burst out laughing, you could feel something change instantly. People who once stayed quiet suddenly seemed more willing to speak. Commentators who avoided the topic started opening up. Viewers who held back opinions began sharing them. Even social media users who feared backlash became more direct. And once that kind of shift starts, it's almost impossible to stop.
Do you make of the fact that Harry and Meghan now seem to be going all in on this hard left ideology? Because you've obviously got the Hamas talking points that they were criticized in the Middle East for, and this woman is anything but someone who's on the mainstream. It's almost as if they have realized that their only base now is the hard left extreme.
Discussions get louder, old claims come back. Past interviews, photos, and headlines get pulled into the spotlight again. Every new detail adds more curiosity, and every unanswered question pulls people in deeper. Meanwhile, the royal family remains tied to the situation, whether they want to be or not. Tradition, image, and reputation all have to be handled carefully while the conversation keeps moving fast. And now one question keeps hanging over everything. Why does Prince Andrew's name keep showing up in this story in a way that makes people pause? Because if public opinion really is shifting, then this situation is far from over. And the more attention it gets, the more people start digging for answers.